Hello, BookTube. This is Alan. I'm just going to do a reading from the 1988 Century Magazine. And someone on Instagram page uh, posted something about what they call lexomania, which is that when you come reading a book and you come across a word, do you just look up the word or do you just continue on? When he said he was in school, he would always stop and look at a word up in the dictionary, which I made a comment saying that, as you could notice from my readings, that in 1988, the writers in these articles of these magazines used words that the writers in the magazines periodicals today would never use. None at all. And why is the reason for that is the reason is that we are become too simplistic in our wording. And I told him about this author that I saw on Instagram. And he wrote horror novels. He wrote 3 or 4 of them. And someone counted how many F-bombs that he had in his horror novels. And one was over 300 F-bombs in his horror novels. And the author was excited that he did that. To me, it goes back to what Nicholas Sparks said, the author. And he's written several books. Several of his novels been turned into movies. He said that he doesn't use swear words or curse words in his novels because they are like a crutch. And the word, that we have gotten away from words that you can just look up in the dictionary. And it's so easy nowadays to look up a word because you have Google. You have Google Dictionary. You see a word, you can highlight a word and find out what the definition just like that. But they're too easy today. Words are just, it seems that we have, as I said, dumbed down our language a lot. Anyway, this article is very short, and it's by Maurice Francis Egan. It's on the personality of Leo the 13th. There's a picture of the Pope. Leo the 13th is described in the Italian publishes Bongi as one of the most finely balanced and vigorous of characters. Without the brilliance of the geniality of Pius IX, which attracted even his enemies to him personally, he has qualities which many Catholics believe of greater usefulness in the present time. He is little of an orator, but much of an author. He uses the pen urbe et orbe, to the city and to the world. He teaches by encyclicals. His predecessors taught by acclutations. So the culture of Leo the 10th, unites the spirituality of Pius IX. He possesses all that is good in the spirit of the Renaissance without the mixture of paganism, which almost put the classics above the scriptures and valued a variation in a line of Horace as much as the Gospel of St. John. He never forgets the weight of his burden as a spiritual ruler in matters of faith and morals of the Catholic world. When he speaks in his encyclicals, which are the models of the classic Latinity, which he teaches ex cathedra on the subjects of faith, or those principles which touch its faith, being of Christian morality. The elegant graces of the past are forgotten, and his words flow solemnly, gravely, with such force that even those who reject him as a teacher recognize his knowledge, broad and depth of the scriptures, and an ordinate desire of the welfare of society. Joachim Vincent Raphael Louis Pinci, that's Pecci, Pinci, was born on March 2nd, 1810 at Carpintio Romana, to be accurate. His brother Cardinal Pinci calls it an eagle's nest. It is placed high in the Mount Lepini in the Valsiana range. Here in this area-like town, much of the course of the ordinary traveler stands the country house of the Piccini family, its outline softened by the boughs of the well-grown trees. Carpenito is still in appearance a medieval town. Even the lumbering stagecoach hurrying through its streets, ancient as that vehicle is, seems painfully modern. The Pinci are of Senese origin. The mother of Leo XIII was Anna Prosperi Buzzi, a descendant of the famous Volsian family. Count Domenico, his father, of a race which had been forced to flee from Siena for having taken sides with the Medici, fought for a time under Napoleon I, but while Napoleon held Pius IX in his clutches, Count Domenico lived quietly in his home at Carpintio, little dreaming that his son was to be the successor of the imprisoned Pope. Vincent Pinci, as he was called during his mother's life, spent a happy childhood in the Eagle's Nest, for he was the youngest of 6 children, 4 boys and 2 girls. And the memories of that peaceful time permeate his poetical work. Like most boys of his class, he is put in care of the Jesuits. In their establishment at Viterbo in Rome, he showed a marked taste for the classics. He resolved to be a priest. He did not allow himself, in spite of his bad health, many hours of rest. His life was absorbed in those studies which his friend Pope Leo XII had done so much to revive in Rome. In the divinity school of the Roman College and College of Nobles, the University of Sapienza, during the outbreak of cholera in 1837, he showed his courage, Christian charity, and executive ability in assisting Colonel Sala in fighting the scourge. On December 31st of the same year, he was ordained priest. He is marked at once by the papal authorities as a man of mind and power. Appointed governor of Benevento, a hotbed of smuggling and brigandage, connived at by treacherous nobles, he virtually purged the place. His next made delegate of Umbria, which is beloved Perugia is the capital. Umbria was in the worse condition than Benevento. His practical and prompt reforms there gave the then reigning Pope Gregory XVI, the greatest satisfaction. He was consecrated Archbishop of Dominica and appointed nuncio to Belgium. His influence on the progress of higher education in Belgium was felt at once, but Perugia needed an archbishop, and the Perugians would have no one but Monsignor Pinci, if they could help it. It was sent from Belgium to London and Paris, and then recalled to Rome and made Archbishop of Perugia. Pius IX succeeded Gregory XVI. It was not long before Pinci was created cardinal. His motto was St. Charles Borromeo, of that famous family which produced the Cardinal Federico of I Promessi Sulpicia, and his teacher of teachers, St. Thomas Aquinas. He believed that priests should be learned as well as virtuous. He enforced his belief so well that Perugia became known as admirable. Pius IX died. The convent laid open. Cardinal Pinci was elected Pope in the third ballot by a vote of 44 out of 61. He assumed the name of Leo XIII. During his pontificate, the Pope's one thought, iterated and reiterated, had been the salvation of society through Christian education. He is now an old man. He had just celebrated his 50th anniversary of his ordination to the priesthood. This century is 10 years old when he entered it. He is not strong. He lives with the fragility, simplicity of a Spartan. This Pope, who in the great functions wears the garments of the Roman patrician and tiara more splendid than that of the emperors, and moves upborne by the arms of man with more pomp than any potentate on earth, and spends most of his time in simple white robe and engaged in active intellectual labor. He finds time to bless the little children that are brought to him. He is never hurried when an American Catholic or non-Catholic is introduced to him. The hardest work of the day is that done with the Cardinal Secretary of State. The problems which the foreign governments offer him can only be solved by the kindest insight and most consummated knowledge. Fortunately, he once ruled in Perugia with a firm hand. He knows the difficulties of rulers. He also visited foreign courts and understands how to make diplomacy with diplomacy. Sir Charles Delky says that the diplomatic service of the Vatican is most complete in Europe. And Sir Charles Delky knows Europe very well. But Leo XIII, whose only recreation is a walk in the Vatican garden, a talk with an old friend, of the pleasure he finds of the Psalms of David, is the director of the policy of the Vatican in all matters. His days are happy when no diplomatic riddle vexes him. Secluded in his own palace with no soldiers, but an ornamental troop. Helpless so far as the physical force is concerned, he has immense power in the world. The poems of Leo XIII are remarkable for their equanimity, latency. They are recorded of his feelings at various periods of his existence. In 1830 he wrote, "Scarce 20 years thou numbers, Joachim, and fell diseases thy young life invade. Yet pains, when charmed by verse, seems hath allayed. Record thy sorrows, then in mournful hymn." He anticipated death, but death has spared him longer than he spares most man. The eloquency of the Pope's Latin and sincerity of his sentiments, pure, warm, hearty, in the case of old scenes and old friends, even homily, makes his poems interesting. He writes lovely of the past and hopefully of the future. That is Pope Leo XIII. I'm wondering if he became a saint. So thank you very much for listening. Subscribe, comment, and have a good weekend.